All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour, where the so-called Islamic State Khorasan has claimed responsibility for the attacks against the Taliban in the Afghan city of Jalalabad. The group has claimed 3 separate bomb attacks that targeted 3 Taliban vehicles in Jalalabad on Saturday. And there was another bomb that went off on Sunday evening, which also reportedly targeted a Taliban vehicle. Now, referring to the blast, the group has claimed that more than 35 Taliban members were killed or wounded in the explosions. At this point of time, there is no immediate comment from the Taliban about the death toll. Jalalabad is the capital of the Nangarhar province, the heartland of the Islamic State group's Afghanistan branch. At least about 7 people are said to have been killed and another 30 injured in a series of explosions in Afghanistan's Jalalabad city. 4 IED explosions took place in Jalalabad, at least one of which allegedly has targeted a Taliban convoy. And amongst those who were killed or injured were women, children and even security personnel. Now, this, remember, is the first deadly attack in Afghanistan ever since the United States has withdrawn its troops from the country. There have been instances of explosions and attacks in the last few weeks, but this is the first time that civilian casualties have been reported. Now, remember, Jalalabad is the stronghold of the so-called Islamic State in Afghanistan, the same group that claimed responsibility for the bombings that took place at the Kabul International Airport, in which nearly about 180 people, mostly Afghans, were killed in the twin explosions. All right, now to get us more in terms of what's happening on this story, we are joined in by our correspondent Anas Malik, who's joining us live on this broadcast. Good morning to you, Anas. What is the latest that we know in terms of what has happened since these blasts? Has the Taliban at this point of time been able to apprehend any of those individuals who may have been behind this attack?
Good morning to you, Saleh from Kabul. As we speak, to answering your question, no, the Taliban have not come out with any statement for now. They have not. There is no official confirmation with regarding any apprehensions to what has happened in Jalalabad in the past 48 hours. At least 5 explosions have taken place. At least 7 people are confirmed dead and more than 30 are injured. The Islamic State or ISKP has claimed responsibility. Initially, it was being said that these explosions are a result of IED explosions, and that was unexploded ordnance on which the Taliban's convoys and general people had stepped on. But sources on ground, security sources on ground, both from the Taliban and from the previous police setup as well, they were casting doubts on this claim for the fact that this looked like a calculated act. So after that, we saw late last night a claim from the Islamic State Khorasan province, or ISKP as it's commonly said, where they have claimed all 5 of the bombings or the blasts that took place. And they've said that the language is very interesting. They said that they targeted the Taliban, who they consider as an apostate. The IS claim, of course, has an exaggerated number of death toll as well. It says that 35 people have been killed. However, when I spoke to hospital sources, they said that at least 7 people are confirmed dead in these explosions, that 4 of them which took place day before yesterday, and 1 of them that took place today. In fact, yesterday, pardon me on that, Saturday and Sunday, we saw these explosions having taken place, and we're yet to see a comment coming in from the Taliban, but IS is now coming out in the open, and it remains a bigger existential problem for the Afghan Taliban to deal with. We've seen them carrying out operations. Nangarhar is the hotbed for IS, not the city of Jalalabad, but the districts of Ghani Khail and Khokyani in Nangarhar, which are the hotbed for IS as well. Nangarhar, remember, is the same province where in 2017 March, the then US President Donald Trump had ordered the MOAB, or Mother of all bombs, to be dropped in order to target the Islamic State. Saleh?
Right, now, Anas, a lot of people are looking at what is unfolding in Afghanistan now, especially in the aftermath of these bombings. You know, they would be wondering that the ISIS, in this case, the Islamic State Khorasan, has used practically the same tactic that the Taliban used when it was an insurgent group in the last 20 years. You know, the question that I want you to answer is, how prevalent is the presence of the ISIS-Khorasan, and what kind of a challenge can they mount to the Taliban government that is in charge in Kabul now?
Well, the IS has its foothold, its greater foothold here, because we've seen when the IS had defeat in Iraq and Syria, its fighters, be that be Chechens, be that be Syrians, be that be from elsewhere Arab countries, and be that be from the subcontinent as well, all of them flocked into Afghanistan. They made Nangarhar as their Nangarhar and Kunad as their stronghold as well. And since then, they have been carrying out operations. There's been a turf war between IS and the Taliban. The IS considers the Taliban as an apostate. The Taliban consider the IS as an existential threat, and they have been rather bolstering the fact that they have the wherewithal, the capacity to counter the menace of IS in case if they are in a government, because then that would make them make their efforts being channelized towards one common thread. And this is what we saw the US also backing that when the maternity home attack here in Kabul took place last year. The then Afghan government said that it was done by the Taliban. The Taliban said that it was done by the IS, and in fact the US special envoy for Afghan peace, Zalmay Khalilzad, he had tweeted that according to US government assessment, it was done by the IS. No group had openly claimed responsibility for the maternity home attack. And then to quote Zalmay Khalilzad, he said that this attack actually emphasizes more on the need to have a negotiated settlement, so that the common challenge of Islamic State can be worked out, and then it can be eliminated. So now the bigger problem is that the Taliban are in power. They are very much in power. They don't have any other adversaries to look at. They don't have any other open front to look at. There is no Afghan army who would be countering them per se. So the only challenge is IS. IS is expanding. IS is here. And we've seen them carrying out operation that big suicide attack outside the Kabul airport as well. So
right.
The Taliban, the bigger challenge, as I said, would round up to the fact that now that they are in power, would they be able to control IS or not? Only time can tell. Saleh?
Absolutely indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Anas Malik, for joining us and getting us all those updates there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.